Let's be honest. You've probably spent years trying to figure women out, and maybe, no matter how much you've given, your time, your heart, your patience, you've still felt invisible. Because no one ever told you this, women have weaknesses too. Not physical ones, but emotional triggers that run deep beneath the surface of every word, every glance, every silence. And when a man understands them, everything changes. Not because he manipulates, but because he finally sees what others are blind to. You see, most men chase confidence, money, or looks, thinking those alone will win her over. But what truly reaches a woman's heart isn't found in your wallet or mirror. It's found in your presence. And the first weakness every woman has is emotional attention. When a man gives her genuine focus, without judgment, without trying to fix her, she feels something rare. She feels seen, and that's more intoxicating than love itself. The second weakness is mystery. Women crave to understand, to decode, to unveil. When you're too available, too predictable, she feels safe, but not drawn. But when you have layers, a quiet purpose, and a life that doesn't revolve around her, she leans in, her curiosity becomes attachment, and the more she wonders what's behind your calm eyes, the deeper she falls. The third weakness is emotional control, not dominance, not coldness, control. A man who can hold his emotions without exploding or collapsing makes her feel like she can finally relax. Because most men crumble when tested. But the one who doesn't flinch when she storms, who doesn't chase when she withdraws, who doesn't react when she provokes, he earns her respect. And respect, that's the foundation of real attraction. You've probably noticed that when a woman feels too safe, she grows distant. That's because her mind feeds on emotional rhythm. She needs a dance between security and desire. So the fourth weakness is uncertainty. A healthy dose of unpredictability makes her feel alive. It doesn't mean playing games. It means living with depth, not routine. When you live your life with passion, she'll chase the feeling she gets when she's around you, and she'll never want to lose it. The fifth weakness is authentic strength, not bravado, not fake alpha energy. It's the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is, even if no one applauds him. A man who can walk away from anything that doesn't serve his peace. That kind of energy makes her rethink her entire definition of love. Because deep down, every woman wants to surrender, not to a man who controls her, but to one she trusts. And that trust is born from consistency. When your words and actions align, when you stay calm in chaos, when your presence feels like home, she stops testing, she stops fighting, she starts choosing. Most men will never understand this. They'll chase validation, not power. They'll beg for love instead of earning respect. But the man who learns these weaknesses doesn't just attract women. He transforms the way women see him, because power isn't about control. It's about awareness. Most men today have forgotten what true masculine energy feels like. They've been told to be softer, quieter, more agreeable, until they became invisible in the eyes of women. But here's the truth that no one dares to say out loud. A woman's heart doesn't fall for comfort, it falls for contrast. She is drawn to the man who can hold his ground when she tests his boundaries, because she's not testing to destroy him, she's testing to trust him. Every man who's been ghosted, manipulated, or emotionally drained has one thing in common. He didn't know the sixth female weakness, the craving for masculine certainty. When a woman feels your energy grounded like a mountain, her chaos becomes still. Her voice softens. Her eyes change. Because for the first time, she feels what safety actually means. And that's a feeling she'll never forget. The seventh weakness is admiration hunger. Every woman, no matter how confident she appears, wants to look up to her man in some way. Not because she's weak, but because admiration makes her feel secure in her choice. If she can't respect your ambition, your discipline, or your direction, she'll subconsciously start pulling away. You don't have to be rich or famous. You just have to stand for something. A man with purpose lights a fire in her that no attention, no compliments, no gifts ever could. The eighth weakness is something darker, the desire for emotional challenge. A woman's mind is wired for stimulation, and she feels alive when she meets a man who doesn't fold under pressure. She'll poke at your insecurities, question your silence, even provoke your pride, because she's subconsciously asking, "Can I feel safe with this man when life gets hard?" If you get defensive, she loses faith. But if you stay calm and centered, she feels drawn to your strength in a way she can't explain. And here's the ninth weakness: subtle dominance. Not aggression, not control. It's the way you lead energy without saying a word. When you guide her through a decision, when you look her in the eyes and say, "I've got this," and then prove it, she melts. Because for a woman to surrender emotionally, she needs to feel your quiet command over yourself. That's what separates a boy from a man. And the 10th weakness is emotional exclusivity. Every woman wants to feel like you could have anyone, but you chose her. When you're independent, when you don't seek validation, when you live in your own world, your attention becomes the rarest currency. The moment she realizes that your presence isn't easily given, she values it like gold. Because attention from every man means nothing, but attention from one man who truly knows himself means everything. So many men try to win women by changing who they are. But the secret is this: women are naturally drawn to the man who doesn't need to chase, because she can feel when you're chasing her approval versus when you're walking in your truth. One makes her anxious, the other makes her addicted. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to stop giving your power away to every smile, every message, every glance. A woman's weaknesses aren't invitations for manipulation. They're mirrors showing you where your strength belongs. And when you master that balance, you stop trying to impress women. You start impacting them. Most men never recover from the moment they were first rejected. That moment when she said, "I'm just not feeling it," and everything inside you twisted into silence. You didn't just lose her. You lost something inside yourself. And from that day, without even knowing, you started chasing validation instead of connection. But here's the secret no one teaches men: the moment you need her approval, she loses attraction. Because a woman's heart opens not to the man who pleads, but to the man who chooses himself first. This is where the 11th weakness begins: the pull of self-respect. Every woman is subconsciously drawn to the man who values his time, his energy, and his emotions more than her attention. Because that energy whispers, "I am whole without you." And that is the rarest signal in today's world. When you stop over-explaining, stop begging, stop waiting for her texts, something shifts. She starts to feel your absence like a question she can't answer. And suddenly, your silence speaks louder than her words. The 12th weakness is emotional unpredictability, not in a toxic way, but in a human, dynamic way. When you can go from deep seriousness to humor, from calm to passion, from distance to presence, she never feels like she has you fully figured out. And that's magnetic, because predictability kills desire. She doesn't want a man who reacts like a robot. She wants a man whose emotions have rhythm, who feels but doesn't lose control. You don't have to fake mystery. You just have to be real. Then comes the 13th weakness: challenge. Most men think women want a man who agrees with everything they say. Number. They want a man who listens deeply but stands firmly. When you respectfully disagree, when you say, "I see it differently," and mean it, she feels both frustrated and fascinated, because deep down, she doesn't want to dominate you. She wants to feel your mind press against hers. She wants to feel your strength in your words, not just your body. And when you can hold your ground without raising your voice, she'll test you less and trust you more. The 14th weakness is your ambition. Women don't fall for potential, they fall for movement. When a man wakes up every morning chasing something larger than himself, that fire becomes contagious. It doesn't matter what your dream is. It could be your business, your art, your fitness, your legacy. But when she sees that light in your eyes when you talk about it, she feels something she can't name, because ambition is proof of direction, and direction is proof of strength. And the 15th weakness, the one that no one ever talks about, is forgiveness. Not the kind you give her, but the kind you give yourself. Women can feel when a man is still chained to his past, when he hasn't forgiven the ex who broke him, the friend who betrayed him, the version of himself that failed. But when you carry peace instead of bitterness, she feels it. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've let go of what once consumed you. That's when you stop attracting chaos and start attracting peace. Because peace is the highest form of power a man can own. And when a woman senses that, she doesn't want to change you, she wants to join you. Some men have forgotten the quiet power that comes from not reacting. They live their whole lives chasing emotional storms, trying to fix, prove, or please. But real masculine strength isn't loud. It's calm. It's in the man who doesn't flinch when tested, who doesn't rush when others panic, who doesn't argue to win, but to understand. Because a woman's energy is wild, emotional, unpredictable, and her unspoken weakness is that she's drawn to a man whose calm steadies her chaos. That's the 16th weakness, emotional grounding. When you're grounded, her emotions stop being a threat. They become connection points. She feels safe to cry, to vent, to open up, not because you agree with everything she says, but because your silence feels stronger than her storm. She might push, she might provoke, but when you stay steady, she feels what most men can't give her: peace. The 17th weakness is your emotional distance. Not coldness, not neglect, but healthy space. When you don't constantly need her attention, she feels your absence like gravity. She starts wondering, what's he thinking about? That question creates emotional attraction stronger than any compliment, because desire lives in space, not in closeness. Too much access kills mystery, and mystery keeps her invested. When she senses that your world is bigger than her, she wants to be a part of it. The 18th weakness is your silence. Most men fear silence. They fill every pause with explanations, jokes, or reassurance. But silence is dominance in its most peaceful form. It's how you make her feel your presence without words. When she speaks and you simply listen, really listen, without judgment, she starts to crave your energy. Because silence gives her space to reveal who she truly is, and every woman is drawn to the man who can hold her truth without running from it. The 19th weakness is emotional clarity. You know what you want, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. When you set boundaries, not out of anger, but self-respect, she can feel it. A woman's nature is to test, to question, to explore limits, but once she meets a man who enforces them with calm confidence, she stops pushing. Because that energy feels like leadership, and leadership is the deepest form of masculine attraction. The 20th weakness might surprise you. It's your vulnerability. Not the kind where you spill every secret hoping she'll understand, but the kind that shows strength through honesty. When you say, yeah, I've been hurt before, but I grew from it, you don't lose respect, you gain it. Because a man who can be real without being weak, that's rare. It tells her you've faced pain and survived. And survival, in its quietest form, is irresistible. When you combine grounding, silence, distance, clarity, and vulnerability, you become something most men will never be: emotionally dangerous. Not because you hurt women, but because you make them feel everything without saying much at all. That's when she dreams about you. That's when she overthinks your every word. That's when you become unforgettable. You don't need to chase women. You need to become the kind of man they can't forget, even when they try. Because the most powerful attraction is not built on attention. It's built on energy. The energy of a man who knows who he is, even when no one is watching. Deep down, every man wants to be remembered. Not for his looks, not for his status, but for the feeling he leaves behind. That silent mark that lingers in a woman's mind long after he's gone. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most men never leave that mark, because they're too focused on impressing her instead of impacting her. You don't build unforgettable connection through effort. You build it through energy. That's where the 21st weakness lives: presence. Most men are physically there but emotionally absent. They look at her but they don't see her. They listen but they don't hear her. When you truly pay attention, not to reply but to understand, you activate something inside her she doesn't even understand. She starts to feel drawn to you without knowing why. Because presence says, I'm not distracted, I'm here, and you matter right now. And that kind of focus is rare in a world addicted to noise. The 22nd weakness is certainty. You see, women don't follow words, they follow certainty. When you speak with conviction, move with purpose, decide with clarity, she feels it. It's not arrogance, it's the energy of a man who knows who he is and doesn't apologize for it. Certainty creates safety, and safety creates attraction. You don't need to convince her you're valuable, you need to show her that you believe you are, because belief is contagious. The 23rd weakness is selective generosity. Most men give too much too soon. They give their time, their energy, their affection to prove they're different. But real power lies in restraint. When you give with purpose, not desperation, your attention becomes sacred. When you reward effort, not expectation, she learns your value through experience. Women respect the man who gives wisely, not endlessly. Because endless giving doesn't say love, it says lack. The 24th weakness is emotional patience. A woman's emotions are like tides. They rise, they fall, they twist. The weak man tries to fix them. The strong man lets them pass. He knows that no storm lasts forever, and that real connection begins when she feels safe enough to be emotional without judgment. Patience isn't passive, it's power under control, and that calm energy makes her feel something no other man can: security. The 25th weakness is the deepest of all, your emotional detachment from outcome. When you no longer need her to respond, approve, or choose you, you've already won. Because your worth is no longer on the table. You're not there to take, you're there to be. A man who doesn't chase is terrifying to a woman because he can't be controlled. He moves with quiet certainty, and his absence feels like silence after music, haunting and unforgettable. That's what she remembers long after you're gone. Not what you said, not what you did, but how your energy made her feel. So stop trying to win women over. Win yourself first. When you master your emotions, your silence, and your sense of purpose, women don't just notice, they orbit. They sense your confidence, your restraint, your mystery, and they start craving the peace that you carry. Because deep down, every woman is looking for one thing: a man whose calm feels like home and whose purpose feels like fire. Every man wants to understand women, but few ever understand themselves. They study psychology, watch videos, learn tactics, but still feel lost. Because what truly makes a man powerful isn't what he knows about women, it's what he masters within himself. A woman doesn't fall for information. She falls for vibration, the frequency of a man who has faced himself and refused to break. And that's the secret most men never hear. All the weaknesses you've heard: attention, mystery, emotional control, distance, patience, presence, they all connect to one truth. A woman's greatest weakness is the man who is not ruled by his own. Because every time you react, chase, or prove, you lose her. But when you stay still, centered, and calm, she starts to wonder what makes you different, why her usual tricks don't work, why she can't get you out of her head. That's when the game changes, because you've stopped playing it. The 26th weakness is emotional leadership. Not dominance through force, but guidance through presence. When you lead with quiet confidence, when your actions align with your values, she naturally follows. Because every woman is drawn to a man who makes her feel safe to be soft. You don't have to control her. You just have to control yourself. And that discipline makes her trust you deeper than any sweet words ever could. The 27th weakness is emotional maturity. When you stop seeing her emotions as drama and start seeing them as communication, everything shifts. You learn that she doesn't want a solution. She wants to feel felt. And when you can hold her energy without trying to escape, you become unforgettable. Because to a woman, emotional maturity is the ultimate strength. It's rare, steady, and grounding. The 28th weakness is non-neediness. It's the hardest one. It means being able to care deeply without depending on her reaction. When you can look at her with love but still walk away if she disrespects you, that's power. Because women can sense when a man's world revolves around them, and the moment it does, attraction dies. But when she realizes you love her freely, not fearfully, she chases you, not the other way around. The 29th weakness is peace. You might think peace is boring, but peace is magnetic. It's the energy that says, I don't need to argue, I don't need to prove, I just am. It's what makes her body relax when she's near you. Because peace is stability, and stability is the rarest form of strength. Every woman, deep down, is searching for peace inside the arms of a man who doesn't lose himself to chaos. And finally, the 30th weakness, purpose. It's the force behind every decision, every silence, every moment of restraint. When you have purpose, you stop chasing validation because you're too busy chasing destiny. And that's the energy women feel before you even speak. A man with purpose doesn't need to demand respect. He embodies it. He's not led by attention. He's led by vision. And that kind of man becomes unforgettable. In the end, understanding women isn't about learning what they want. It's about becoming the man they can't ignore, a man of purpose, presence, patience, and power. Because when you master yourself, everything and everyone starts moving differently around you. You stop attracting chaos. You start attracting peace. And that's when life stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like alignment. So tell me, honestly, what kind of man do you want to become from this moment on? Write your answer in the comments below. And if this video spoke to something deep inside you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with the brother who needs to remember he was never meant to chase love. He was meant to become it.